Okay, y'all, so let's talk theories for Alien Earth episode 4. We already discussed episode 3. Go check out that video. We are also going to be discussing Peacemaker, potentially. I don't know if y'all are into that. We'll see. But we're watching the first episode tonight. But Alien Earth episode 4 is drawing closer. Well, we're a week away still. Alien Earth episode 3 just came out. Anyways, they released a trailer for it. And I thought this trailer was interesting because it showcases a lot that I think is going to really set in motion how this is going to all be resolved. So in episode 3, we see that Wendy has some sort of connection to the face hugger, the xenomorph even, because we see that the xenomorph doesn't try to attack Wendy when she goes to rescue Joe, which was interesting to me. The xenomorph was like, cool, y'all can see your way out right here, right? And we saw that Wendy ultimately then had to fight the xenomorph. So I'm just curious as to what is going on. Will they not fight to the death or what, right? But this new trailer has us seeing that things are going to get a lot more interesting here. So let's get into the theories of what's going to happen in episode 4 based on this new trailer we got. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're covering the Alien Earth series every week, so you don't want to miss out on that. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers. The latest trailer, what I see in the first couple of seconds of it that it has me very interested that I haven't seen before is Nibs. Nibs is such an interesting character because Nibs seems to be the only one of the children that doesn't like what's going on, as opposed to Curly, one of the other children here, who is very much so excited about the new possibilities of living for eternity, having this new body and never dying. Nibs, on the other hand, is more like, I don't know if this trade-off was that great because I feel like I'm like a guinea pig in this lab and I don't really have quote-unquote freedom, as they say. And it seems that Boy isn't really there for trying to make these children feel at home or trying to make them feel better. They're more as experiments to Boy, as he points out. Ultimately, what Boy has been looking for is somebody smarter and more talented than him so he can actually have a great conversation. He says Boy has this very grandiose I'm better than you vibe going on, right? And we see it throughout the episodes as we are seeing that Kirsch ultimately might be turning on Boy, but more on that in a bit. In this newest trailer, we see that Nibs is going to turn on the Prodigy scientist and maybe she's going to get a little bit more aggressive. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Nibs get axed at some point due to her being more questioning and just more like, I don't know if this is right or wrong, right? So Nibs could potentially be a threat to Prodigy and Boy that I think we'll see Boy probably will handle. But I think one of the interesting things too in this trailer is what on earth is happening with Wendy and this xenomorph. Wendy has a connection to the aliens here for some reason, and this was even before they had any contact together, because we saw when Wendy first arrived to the crash site, she was the only one that heard that buzzing, and she was able to sort of tap into it that was the aliens maybe trying to speak to her. Now in the trailer that they released when the first 2 episodes were released that were like what's coming up on Alien Earth in the coming episodes, they say that the aliens are trying to communicate with Wendy for some reason. We don't know what they're trying to say or what they're trying to do, but it seems that things are getting a lot more convoluted than we expected. And I think that Wendy is going to get into like the way of Boy trying to do what he's doing with these specimens and experimenting with them and all of that, because she's going to really find out the truth what Boy's doing here, and that of course is using Joe as a human pincushion of sorts, where he's taking parts of him out to infuse with the tadpole alien, as we saw at the end of episode 3. And I don't think Wendy's gonna like that at all, as we've heard characters before say that Wendy is more like gonna be loyal to her brother than to Boy and to Prodigy, and you know, that's something we're going to see here. And I think Curly could be one of the people that might backstab Wendy in order for her to usurp Wendy's place, because we heard Curly having that conversation with Boy where she's like, I think I could be the one that's the leader that could take the place that you think Wendy's going to have. And Boy seems to know it's not Curly. I think Boy did something with Wendy that was special that he didn't do with the other Lost Boys, but I think he finds it amusing to have the hybrids go up against another because he is just that like emotionally cold, and I think that he finds some amusement that they're buying all for his time, right? I think Boy knows that Curly can't really go to Wendy's level, but he's not going to tell her that. I think he finds finds it more amusing to see her try. So I think that's something that we're going to be seeing in this next few episodes, the hybrids turning on one another. Now, with the cyborg Muro here, who is also interesting, we see that he now has tapped into being able to speak to Slightly without anybody noticing after he implanted that little chip in him at the end of the previous episode. And he is trying to get the eggs back. He sees it as his life's work, and he's going to stop at nothing to get them back from Boy. Whether Yutani wants to help him or not, he is there for that mission to finish it, what he started with the crew 65 years ago. Muro is somebody who has lost everything at this point, his crew, his family, and all he has left to showcase for what he has done is just these eggs that now Boy has under Prodigy. So he's gonna go and take those no matter what. And it seems that Slightly might just be there to help him. Slightly and Muro are developing a relationship. As Muro says, "You told me everybody needs a friend. Why don't you be my friend?" And I think we're going to see Slightly try to go fetch these eggs for Muro, but I think it's not going to end well for Slightly. So I think we're going to start seeing these hybrids sort of be picked off one by one, depending on the situation. Nibs is going to go up against Prodigy, and I think Slightly going against the wishes of Prodigy will ultimately end in their demise. And I think that's where we're going to see the other hybrids start to really wonder what is their purpose here, and it's going to be interesting, I think. So very excited for these next coming episodes, and I'm very curious as to why the Xenomorphs and Wendy's have a connection. My whole thing here might be that Wendy, in fact, having the consciousness of a child and having these limitless capabilities, as Boy says, might be something that the Xenomorphs have tapped into. Maybe they're able to sense that as well, and they're kind of confused about these hybrids as well in comparison to the synthetics and the cyborgs and all of that. More to the Xenomorph that we don't know just yet that may be explained in the coming episodes. I think Wendy, due to this connection, is going to be able to find out that Boy is up to no good and is eventually going to turn on him, and this might be why Boy is already lining up Curly to sort of be there to protect him from Wendy if Wendy in fact finds out what they're doing to Joe, which is just so insane. I was so like, what the fuck, when I saw that they had Joe's lung out and all of that, and they were using it for the tadpole to infuse. So I don't know what the hell they're going to create with that, but it seems that we are still going to get some weird signs here. Also, Kirsch is an interesting character because Kirsch seems to be like on the fence. He should or shouldn't be listening to Boy, who he feels maybe he is more superior to, and he feels like, why am I even listening to this guy right here who isn't even able to handle the aliens and I can, and he's just giving out orders like that. So Kirsch could in fact maybe try to take over from Boy, and I think that's going to be an interesting thing we see happen in the next coming episodes. I think there's going to be a lot of backstabbing. I think there's going to be a ton more experiments, and I think that the moral dilemmas are just going to get even more crazier. So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. We're about 8,000 away from that. Super excited to get that before the end of the summer. A couple of weeks away. Hopefully we can. Check out our reviews we did on Splitsville, Najah 2. Two films I think are worth checking out this weekend. I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.